flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Comments from the public? Anybody wishing to address the board at this time from the public may do so. There being no comments from the public,
I have some comments on fire department.
you want that to come under your report.
Okay.
You'll get another chance at the end of the meeting. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Bills, we all have copies of the bills. Do we have any additions or deletions?
Since we have 75 bills tonight, I decided not to add any more.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Make a motion, we pay the bill.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Correspondence.
First piece of correspondence you have was hand-delivered to the village office on December 5th. It says, "Dear board members, my name is Mark Miro and I live at 31 Chapman Street in Rouses Point." Mr. Miro goes on to say that he's been a taxpayer in this village and that he is dissatisfied with the boat launch parking situation as it exists at present because he is not able to use it because there are too many boats and other things there, boat trailers parked there, that he's not able to utilize the boat parking facility.
You all have copies of this letter. I have talked to Chief Craig about this and have asked the chief to come up with some sort of a plan to the board.
I got a couple things too that we decided because of the sportsman's pier that if people need the extra parking for village residents and the members of the sportsman's club, they can park their boat and trailer on the next lot over. That'll give us a little bit extra room also. I talked to Mark about this too.
There is a problem. There are some cars that are at the marina that park overnight, in fact, all weekend, and I think we really need to address that problem. Bob has said to us several times that we need to put a definite policy, like don't put on no overnight parking, don't, because that don't mean anything. Say no parking after midnight. Then they can do something, because then they go there at midnight, they don't know if that car drove in an hour before. But if it's after midnight, you can walk in and say, all right, this car's here, get ticketed or don't.
Ticket a few of the cars, I don't think we'll have a problem after.
Yes. So we'll look into this matter throughout the winter, and I don't think we'll have to worry about it during the winter, but that's about, yes?
You know, when you say you can't be there at midnight, and you've got a lot of your boaters right here in Rouses Point that go out and stay overnight and leave their vehicles there too. So I mean, they're taxpayers too. So
Bob, in all fairness, this summer I traveled that quite a bit and go down there at different times. And basically, I didn't see anybody parked there with boat trailers overnight. Basically what I saw was cars from the marina there.
Yep.
And I mean, one time I went down there was a car parked right smack in the middle of it with a canvas cover over the top of it. You know darn well it's going to be there for a while. And I don't think we'd have a problem if somebody was parked there with a boat trailer.
I'm just saying, if you put that on there, then you can take anyone. You know, you can solve the problem down there very easily if the board just wants to do something about it. You know, number one, talk with Rigo and tell him not to let his people park in there.
We had, Bob, we went to him last year with
Well then, George, that's a simple deal to do with Rigo. We'll move our fence line where it belongs. And Mr. Rigo will lose 20 feet or 30 feet on one side and 40 feet on the other. I mean, all he's got to do is abide by what we want. Have them park their vehicles in his backyard.
They got plenty of parking there.
Yeah, but that's Mr. Rico's problem. Now, when we had a problem, when you weren't on the board with the Barcombs, we went down there, and me and Bob Craig both, and we talked to Nelson and Sister and them, and they were parking on the road. The very next weekend, there was not one car parked on the road. They were all parked in the back field. Because Mr. Barcombe chose to tell the people if they couldn't park in the right place, then pick their boats up and leave.
You know, Rico ain't gonna do that.
No, he's not, but I mean, you could force him into doing it. He's the one causing the problem, not the cars themselves, because they're told they can park there.
What about putting a pass for the local residents? Anybody has a boat, just go down and get
We
a...
had that system, it gets to be a royal touche, you know, let's put it that way,
Yeah, I
for the
was
girls in
thinking-
the office, for the girls in the office, to, you know, issue these passes, and to even keep track of it. And they even hired a guy part-time, I think it was, at one time, just to watch it.
So I was thinking myself, when I seen the letter this morning, I mentioned to Bev, what's the issue passes to non-residents?
Yeah. Well, the other thing you gotta look at, ladies and gentlemen, is that number one, you know, you can say you use tax dollars to build this. We're using state money to build the washrooms down there. But it's the same deal that we have with the sportsman club. You cannot restrict it to a certain clientele. It is public money. I don't have a boat, my dollar went in there.
Right.
If I don't have a boat, her dollar went in, well, I will. But what I'm saying is, so we tell the voters, well, it's strictly you're the only ones that can use it, we can't do that. We went through, you know, when we tried to, we looked into the deal of having the sportsmen turn the dock over, we found out that we cannot give somebody exclusive use of something. So, let's just hang on, see what Bob comes back with, and then we'll work from there. I mean, we got most of the winter, all the winter to work with it, so. And I think we should probably answer that letter to him, that the board will take this under consideration.
The second correspondence you have is data from the New York State Conference of Mayors informing you that the 2002 winter legislative meeting is February 24th through 26th at the Albany Crown Plaza. I know this is early, but it's something you should start thinking about because the room is very limited. So I'm not going to ask for an answer tonight. I will put this on another agenda.
Yeah, because it says here, by February 2nd, whatever rooms they got allowed, they lose.
Right. But I really would recommend you not wait until then, because early
I-
registration is by
Probably.
By
January
next board,
18th.
Right.
by next board meeting, we should have an answer if anybody wants. I know definitely I would like to go.
The earlier you register, the better, so I will put that on the next agenda.
Thank you.
The next piece of correspondence you have is from Edward A. Bayshard. Dear Board of Trustees, this is a letter of intent that I plan to put in a street on my property located between the Rouses Point Fire Station and the Senior Housing Project. The main phase of this project is to begin in May 2002, weather permitting. The name of the engineer will be Doug Ferris. If you have any further questions, please contact me, Edward Bayshard.
What's the name of the street gonna be, Beth? Somebody asked me that.
Okay, don't even go there yet.
Oh, I thought Bayshore Boulevard, somebody said, but...
Right.
The name of the street is up to the board.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the
oh,
board.
okay.
And there's nothing there, so we don't even really need to go there.
Oh, okay. Somebody asked me, I said, geez, I don't know.
Yes, Doug?
I was glad that Mr. Bayshard presented this to you. He and I are tentatively forming an agreement, but I would not have entered into an agreement with him until I talked to the board to disclose to you that he wanted me to be his engineer and asked there could be a perceived conflict of interest. I'm asking the board to think about it and let me know whether or not they would accept my doing this project with Mr. Bayshard.
Can't see where it'd be a conflict of interest as long as you don't cost us money.
I'm trying to say
That's my own personal opinion, I don't know about the rest of the board.
We work good with you, Doug, you do a good job. I don't think it's a conflict of interest.
Should we answer Mr. Bayshard with this letter that I believe that we should probably support this project is 100% that up to what we can do according to our codes and everything? Yeah, that may be important.
I'll make a motion that we respond to this letter.
We You ask him to get rid of those big tanks too?
Everything is moving,
Oh, good.
everything.
Yeah.
The building, the old station, everything is gonna be cleared. He's hopefully gonna be trying to do that shortly, isn't it?
That's correct. I believe Dennis Richard is going to be moving his equipment in there tomorrow and clearing
That's pretty
one of the
fast.
first things. And there's going to be a surveyor out there right after the new year to shoot the boundaries, and he wants to have a buffer between the north property line of the residences along Pratt Street and his new subdivision. He wants to keep 15-foot swath of trees there, so there's a buffer.
Motion made. Did I get a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded. Any discussion from the board? There being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. I'm very happy to see that. That'll give us some more building lots. I think it's a step forward.
Your next piece of correspondence is from the Dodge Memorial Library. It is addressed to Mayor Rivers from Art Trombley, President, Board of Trustees. At a special meeting of the Library Board, the trustees unanimously chose Andrew Ewart to fill the unexpired term of Reverend Hal Myers, who has resigned. Father Myers is leaving the area. We ask you to support Andy to be a library trustee.
That's my appointment with board approval.
He's a nice guy, yeah.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
He's a good partner.
Being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
I will remind the board that Father Myers was appointed in 1997 for a 5-year term. So Mr. Ewart his term will expire this April. That is all the correspondence I have.
Okay, report of mayor and trustees. And as you know, it's under my agenda tonight, there's absolutely nothing. And with that, I would like to wish all the residents of this village, and especially our board members, and the clerk and the treasurer, the superintendent, and all the workers in the village a very, very happy and Merry Christmas, and a very, very great New Year. Trustee Menard.
My only item on the agenda is a discussion on the fire contract. We had a meeting within last Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and John and George and Bruce and Walter were there. I couldn't make it myself, but
I wasn't there.
Bruce wasn't there. And
Walter and Tom Renee
Tom,
were all there. And they revised the fire contract, and I believe everybody's got a copy of that. And if everybody has read it over, I believe it's very good. I make a motion that we approve the fire contract and send it on to our attorney, who will forward it to the Champlain Fire District.
Second that.
motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Bruce, Walt took some bits of information as to the specifics of the boundaries of the district and the responsibility around this point with him. Do you know if he's had a chance to?
I tried to
There were-
contact him all day by email and by radio, and he hasn't responded, so something's happened at work, I'm sure.
They were, the boundaries were very unclear on in some situations, with respect to what the town talking
I have
about.
no
And he was
information.
supposed to be working on that, so. And I don't know if that is that part of the contract itself or just an addendum?
It isn't part that I got this year, but every other year that has been an attachment.
That's got to be cleaned up, so, simply so that you can understand it.
He might come later, and you can bring this up again later.
And at that meeting, there were several changes in this contract, so it's comes back to the Champlain Fire District Board.
Mhm.
Their approval also.
Is that attachment, is that something that we can send at a later time?
Oh, yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
send,
yeah.
can we send this now?
Yeah,
So that-
yeah, that's a matter of
Just a matter of clarification.
yeah, as to whether, this house located in this particular location, where is it, Champlain or Rouses Point, you know?
So we can send the revised contract so they can take a look at it before the new year.
Matter of fact, there's one house, and if you go in the apartment, it's where the Champlain Fire District covered. If you go in the main building, it's within the Rouses Point. No.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, you
That's
know,
a fine-
those things have got to be cleared out.
Any other discussion?
So until this gets approved by the fire district, we would be working under our old contract, is that correct?
Yeah, we still, yeah.
Well, I know we have a January 1st deadline, but in all reality, nothing is going to happen before
No,
January
no,
1st
no,
on their
we
part.
still,
I
we
think
still
that's
honor the
a-
old contract.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And that's all I have for this evening, other than wishing everybody a happy holidays and a safe holiday, hopefully.
Thank you, trustee Menard. Trustee Huckrow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Doug, up there, you don't even want to say it, do you?
Well, I've got a couple of things. One is, we're just doing some finishing work this week on winterizing the zebra mussel chemical injection system for the winter. We're finishing that off. And on the water storage tank, I understand that the design engineer, John Carr, did speak with the mayor this night, so I would like to know what the mayor has to report on this matter.
Sort of putting me on the spot.
Well, pardon me, but I did not to express our feelings right now.
No, I'm not going to express feelings. John Carr told us that he would be ready, our first meeting in January. Would be, everything, actually everything is ready now, it's just a few minor details to clear up. And I think I cleared up a couple of them for him because he wasn't aware that we had the property intact. And I said, my God, that was done a month ago. And, you know, how, I'm not gonna dispute it. So that, he was happy to hear that. I said, we have the tax map in hand, or the survey map in hand, and the property's ready to go. I said, it's imperative that we know where the easement is gonna run, and of course I talked to you today about that, because Eris wants to know just exactly what's gonna take place up there. We have another issue with the electric, with the same area. So hopefully we can get that cleared up. He said that he had some concerns and wanted to know if he could call Tom Renane with my permission to discuss the bonding with the state on the Clean Water Bond Act. I said, my impression that we're entitled to about $8 million in that bond act. And he says, you're absolutely right, but I just want to make sure everything's on track. And with that, I said, thank you. My charge to you to get to him, Doug, is that next meeting, be ready to go to bed with all possible bidders, that the packets are ready to go, so the night the board approves it, the next day they can be sent out. I mean, there's no reason why that cannot happen at this point.
You're right. Now, maybe you got stuck with that, but you loved it.
Well, thank you, John.
Thanks, Doug. I'd like to request an executive session to discuss Civic Center personnel.
Second.
Motion made and second, roll call vote. Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow?
Aye.
Trustee Penfield?
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson? Aye. And the mayor votes aye.
And I would also like to wish everybody, village, outside the village, everybody here, a very happy holiday season. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Huckrow. Trustee Kelly Penfield?
I have nothing to report, except that I was able to attend on Saturday the children's Christmas party put on by the Rouses Point Fire Department, and as usual, it was an example of yet another way that that group of volunteers makes a very nice contribution to our community, and I think that they should be thanked very much for that. I also had an opportunity to attend the holiday party on behalf of the Historical Society of the Village, and I think that is another group of people who deserve a real commendation for the work that they've done over the past year. They really are very proud of their accomplishments, and both in their membership and their leadership, I think they're doing a fantastic job. So I think that they definitely should be thanked. And that's it.
Thank you, Trustee.
What's going on with the bank? That was one of the things. That's the only other thing I wanted to ask. There's
The,
a lot of action at the bank, and
The
JCU.
JCEO Christmas Bureau is using it as a focal point to hand out Christmas baskets. Thank you, trustee Penfield. Trustee Jefferson.
okay, just a couple things tonight. The sewer plant roof replacement is 50% complete at this time. We keep finding additional corroded steel framing which needs the complete replacement, but the contract should not exceed 5% over the original bid cost. I went down last week and Tommy wasn't there, but I talked with Mike, he's in charge of Lett Brothers, and said everything's going good, and a couple days before that, Tom took me up on the roof and it looks good. Again, I'm glad that we fixed it when we did, because we would have had a problem this winter. Now we got to talk financing. I'd like to make a motion tonight to, we're going to have to secure $700,000 in serial bonds for temporary funding on the construction of the new roof of the village wastewater treatment plant. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the village to go out for a bond of $700,000.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There's a roll call vote, Linda?
Yes.
Roll call vote, there's been no discussion. Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Huckrow?
Aye.
Trustee Penfield?
Aye.
Trustee Jefferson?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye.
And I just have a couple other things tonight. I'd like to invite all the residents of the village to start attending our village board meetings. We're running a multi-million dollar business here, and the more that people get involved, it'll be better for the village. It'll make our operation a more efficient operation. I didn't realize how many things go on here in the village, but we're spending a lot of money, and it's better if more people are on board with what we're doing. So we'd like to invite everybody to start coming to the meetings. I'd like you to remind people to please consider make a donation to the local food bank over the holidays. They're taking food at the church, and there's also a food bank in Plattsburgh. And I'd also like to remember our children, and by please asking village residents to donate an unwrapped gift to the church, the Salvation Army, or Channel 5 TV. And lastly, I'd like to acknowledge the mayor and the village board members for their guidance this past year. I think we have a good board, and we work together good, and I've enjoyed the last 8 months working on the board. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you, trustee Jefferson. Bev?
And I really don't have anything other than, I did have the opportunity to go through the senior housing today, which is very impressive. It's really moving along well. The mayor probably has been there more than anybody, and he can attest to the fact that it's unbelievable how fast it's going up. And we'll be ready for occupancy by the middle of March. And if anybody's interested, please talk to Mr. John LaBounty. He will be the manager of the house. And other than that, I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Bev. Arson?
I don't have anything at this time.
Thank you, sir. Bobby?
The thing, budget time, you guys got anything that you want done, you better get with me, because 2 weeks from now, you guys gonna put the papers out. And if you don't get it done, then you ain't gonna get it later on.
So you got any projects that you need to be done? Bobby has to, need to know, like yesterday, because he has to research cost and what's gonna cost to do the projects.
I'd like to earmark a little money for the fire department too. Maybe we can put some money away and start now, because we need one truck, but in a few years we're gonna need another truck. So if we can start putting some money away, even if it's $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000, it would make things easier down the road. So that's just something that we should think about also.
Anything else, Bob?
No, I guess that's about it, George.
Thank you, sir. Doug? Bob? Bruce?
All right.
Toya, you're last.
Our favorite
Okay. The village has been working on our new ambulance. Only has 49,000 miles and the brakes are completely worn out. And they're running into some problems working on it. And we may have to go to Burlington for parts tomorrow. But they are working on it, and it's still in service, but it needs brakes. And looking at the old ambulance, we're having some mechanical problems with that, and the rust is very bad. So the board should think about surplusing that piece of equipment in the next few months.
That should come from the fire department, make that recommendation.
We just noticed it today, and I haven't talked to any other officials,
I know.
it's very unofficial, but we got a lot of rust on it. And we tested the dry hydrant on Point of Fair that we just installed, and we got water, it's working well, even though we have low water. And we had a very successful Christmas party, one of the most successful ever. And the chiefs got together with Santa and asked for a new truck in the new year, and Santa didn't respond.
Thank you, Bruce. Open meeting to the public at this time. There being nobody to address the board at this time, take a motion for recess.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're done at 7:25. That was 1:08. 8:20.